A little boy is born in the hood. His parents have all the hope in the world that he will grow up to be great, that he will see no sick days, that his days of joy will be many, and that his days of sorrow will be few. They hope that he'll find love and purpose as he navigates his way through this world. No parent wishes less than the best for their child. But this world isn't fair and could care less about the intentions the parents have for that little boy or the talents that little boy may possess. Reality is harsh, and it doesn't always kill your dreams instantly. Sometimes it slowly erodes your dreams like water or wind does to a stone. The stone may appear unbothered at first, but slowly it becomes unrecognizable from what it used to be. The streets will step in as the parents step out and replace those grand dreams with a harsh reality. Untapped talent and potential give way to what could have been and what was. Then one day that little boy becomes a grown man, and no one cares about what his parents intended for him or what he could have been. He is only acknowledged for what he has become, and few people will care what made him become such. Roy Glover, Jr. sat in the day room of an Illinois state prison reading an old English play. Some of the people around him were playing cards. A few were playing chess, and some were watching television. "Yo, Roy, it's 8 o'clock, said an older man who was playing chess. "Appreciated old school," replied Roy. He put the book down and walked over to the payphones to make a call. Approximately 200 miles away, Antoine Glover sat in his room on a Friday night smoking a blunt. His mother was working the night shift and would not be back until around 8 in the morning. In 1 month he would graduate from high school and had no idea what he would do next. Antoine was a mediocre student and mediocre athlete. He figured he would probably go to community college after graduating, work a job, and figure out what to do with the rest of his life. He was not a troubled child. Besides the regular trouble you would expect a young man of his age to get into, Antoine avoided conflicts the best he could. Antoine was not in a gang, did not have a girlfriend, and associated with few people. With the exception of his love for marijuana, he was a trouble-free kid. The house phone rang and snapped Antoine out of his daze. He looked at the caller ID and sighed in annoyance. He answered the phone and heard this is a collect call from the Illinois Department of Corrections from Roy Glover. Press 1 to accept the call. Antoine accepted the call and said, "What up, dude?" He showed his father very little respect, and their age difference influenced it some. Antoine was 17 years old, and his father, Roy, was 32 years old. Roy had never really been viewed by his son as a parental figure, and it often caused friction between the two. "What's up, lil dude, getting ready for your big day?" asked Roy with obvious joy in his voice. Roy never got a chance to graduate from high school or get his GED. The joy he felt for his son was overwhelming, even though he would not be present to see the actual ceremony. Antoine saw phone calls from his father as something he must do. Actually, Antoine did not figure there was much his father could teach him. With his graduation approaching, he felt as if he would surpass his father and wondered what purpose there was to continue a relationship with him. Roy was around for a few birthday parties, but never managed to attend any of Antoine's graduations. Roy was locked up for Antoine's kindergarten and 8th grade graduations. Now, he would miss this son's high school graduation for the same reason. As a son, Antoine could only think about the things his father had missed and had not done for him instead of appreciating the things that he was around for. "Yeah, it's almost that time," responded Antoine in a dry tone. Roy had become accustomed to his son's attitude of disinterest towards him. However, he never let it interfere with his attempt to be as much of a father as he could under the circumstances. "You should be out enjoying your last few months of freedom. Shit is gonna get real after you graduate, lil man," said Roy in a still jovial voice. "Yeah, you would know about enjoying freedom when you can, huh?" asked Antoine. Roy ignored the obvious slight from his son. He was proud that his son was accomplishing something that he had not and wanted his son to enjoy his achievement. "Where's your mama?" asked Roy. "She's at work." "She's always at work," replied Antoine. It angered him that his mother had to work so hard while his father was locked up. For years he had missed out on events because his mother was too tired to go somewhere or had to work. As a result, he wouldn't be able to go to some events and had to stay home because his mother was carrying the financial load for him and herself. That's a hard-working woman. She needs to slow down some, said Roy with a little laugh. She can't slow down. She got used to working hard 'cause she had to take care of herself and a baby all alone, replied Antoine. Yeah, I know. Wish I could be there to help more, said Roy. Be here? You could be here. You decided to do all the dumb shit that got you locked up, shouted Antoine. Roy, still maintaining his calm demeanor, replied, Yeah, I made some mistakes. But I'm gonna fix things as soon as I can. Antoine was simply tired of his father. He was tired of his excuses, watching his mother work hard, and being expected to respect a man he felt had not did anything to earn his respect. When I was a kid, I used to look forward to your phone calls. Now, talking to you is like going to a job that serves no purpose and pays no salary. Actually, I still only talk to you because Ma asks me to, said Antoine. I know you're mad, Twan, but just calm down, said Roy. Why should I be calm? The memories I have of you are from fucking prison visits and calls for Christmas and birthdays. Every image of you in my mind has you wearing a Department of Corrections uniform. I tell people that I don't know who my father is because I'd rather the world think my mother got pregnant through a one-night stand instead of by a nigga who can't get his shit together and stay the fuck out of jail, shouted Antoine. For years I've watched my mother get up and go to work, come home dead tired, and hold everything in the crib down because you were in and out of jail. And when she gets the chance, she still comes to see your black ass, making those long drives down the road so you can smile in her face and make you happy because you fucked off your life, he continued. Let it out, son. What else you got on your mind, replied Roy in a still calm voice. And fuck all this bullshit you call me telling me all the time. You want to talk about the religion you found, how much you love your family, how important education is, and how a decent job is all you want. Did your dumb ass have any of those values when you were free? 'Cause you could have kept your ass out of jail and enjoyed all of that shit, screamed Antoine. You got a lot of aggression in you, boy. The sad part is that you really don't know shit, said Roy in a covered calmness, but it was apparent that he was angry. Roy continued, me and your mother had you when she was 15 and a few weeks before I turned 15. The last thing on my mind was having a damn child. The last thing I ever saw for myself was having a child before I was old enough to get a fucking driver's license. But I manned up and did what I could. Antoine snickered and said, sell drugs, that's the best you could do? Man, save that shit for someone else. Roy wiped his mouth and cleared his mind before he responded to his son, boy, you're 17. When I was 17, my mother had just died. The last image I have in my mind of my father was when I was 3 and he was walking out of the front door as my mother begged him to stay, so it wasn't like I could call him. Your mother's parents ain't shit, all they ever did was judge anyway. When you needed food and clothes, and your mother needed money, I hit those streets and made it happen. I gave up basketball, I gave up a social life, I gave up any possible future I had and risked it all to make sure you two were taken care of. Hell, I was a straight A student. When you were born, I made the decision to become a man, when I wasn't one and had no example of how to be one. I don't expect any praise or gratitude from you, but I'll be damned if I take any disrespect from you. You messed up, old man. You decided to become a drug dealer, shouted Antoine. Yes, son, when I was a little boy I dreamed of having a child at 14, dropping out of high school, selling drugs, and spending nearly half of my life in jail before I reached 32. Life threw me a few curveballs, and I adjusted my swing, I hit a few home runs, and I struck out a few times. I ain't bitching, those were my choices, replied Roy. Well, I'm tired of hearing all that God shit you talk about. It's because no one else believes your ass and God is the last motherfucker willing to listen to you, said Antoine. He might be, but I tell you to appreciate God and family and education while you can. I don't want you to get in my position and appreciate things when you're down, replied Roy. Believe me, man, I'll never be who you are. I'm gonna make sure I don't make all of the dumbass mistakes you made in life. said Antoine. Well, don't forget not to get women pregnant and have kids you're not ready for. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and you're one of them. I've accepted responsibility for all of those other mistakes, just like I accepted responsibility for you, replied Roy. Antoine was quiet on the phone. He had never seen things from the perspective of his father. In his mind, his father just decided to sell drugs as an easy way out of deciding to work hard. He never thought that his father had dreams, only thought he was a lazy bum. You have 1 minute left on this calling card, said a female computerized voice. Look, I love you, son. Enjoy your youth some and be safe out there, said Roy. I love you too, Pops. Be safe in there, said Antoine. The two hung up the phone and Roy walked back towards his seat to read some more of his book before it was time to go in his cell for the night. Antoine hung up the phone, lit his blunt, and took another pull from it. He looked out the window and blew the smoke out the window as he listened to the sound of police sirens going down the street. The young boy put on his headphones to drown out the noise and kept smoking as he listened to his music.